Hey everyone, welcome back to the IHD Craft Room. Tonight is the second live in the Holiday How-To Live series. And I'm going to be painting this wooden Christmas tree in a really cute pink ombre background. And then we're going to add some white dots and maybe even some sparkly rhinestones. I don't know, we're going to see. But first, I just want to say I'm super excited because I love doing things like this. So I'm pretty pumped. And this is going to be a great project for beginners or anybody who just wants like a calm, creative evening making something pretty cool. Okay, so let's unwind. We're going to chat a little bit. I'm going to actually add a comment in the chat here. I'll be looking up from time to time. So please feel free to send me a message and I will respond as much as I can. Okay, so first of all, I picked this up at the Dollar Tree. Not too long ago, like maybe a week ago. Why am I making my life hard? I'm not going to use that. I have my own jute. Had a girl. It's always nice to smarten up in real time, you know? Okay, so I'm going to paint this in a pink ombre. Starting with like a fuchsia at the bottom, leading all the way up to like white at the top. Okay, so full disclosure, I really suck at doing ombre, which is the reason why I want to do it. Because as with all things that we hate in life, if you don't practice, you're not going to get any better at it. So we're going to practice together tonight. I'm going to use this glove so that I don't have to freak out every time I get something on my hand. So these are the paints we're going to be using tonight. They are a bunch of mishmash of stuff. This is a multi-surface from Folk Art. It's called Magenta. And I hate this for dot painting because it's super thick. You'd really need to add something to it to thin out the paint a little bit and give you the texture you want for dot painting. But we're not going to be dotting with this. We're going to be using this on the bottom of our tree. Then we're going to move on to this guy, Tutti Frutti from Deco Art, which I picked up at Dollarama. I got this at Michael's. Third is going to be this Folk Art Color Shift Pastel Pink. It's a gloss metallic acrylic paint. I've used this for a few projects, a super crappy consistency as well. Not a big fan, but I love the color. It's super cool. It's very iridescent, and I love me some iridescent. And last, we're going to be using just plain old white from Deco Art. So I'm going to get started by putting a few dots of all of the colors in all of the places that I want them. And then we're going to hopefully, I think that'll be enough of that. I got to stay. I'm sorry. I'm off the camera. I didn't realize. Okay. This one's going to be hard because I don't have a lot left in here. I actually could have just, oh, okay. All right. That'll do. Okay. Okay. Good. I was just going to like try to scrape it out of the cap, but that will do. Okay. So in my opinion, I don't know why I put such a big dot there. The way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to go bottom to top because I want it to fade into white. And we're going to try to cover as much of the surface as possible without having to touch it up. Oh, I'm going to need more paint than this. I'm being very conservativo. Yeah, no. I'm being very conservativo when I shouldn't be. Okay. But we also don't want to be too extra. So I generally almost always also paint the edges of shapes like this so that it's not that wood look on the side. It's actually the color that I'm painting the base, but that's kind of hard to do with ombre. You could do it afterwards using a little bit of what's the word I want? A little bit of patience, a little bit of flair, a little bit of panache. I don't know, but you just need to get yourself under control and don't go too far. Now, since this is wood and it's not stained or anything, it's going to really absorb this paint in weird splotchy ways. Oh, that's weird. I generally like to use chalk paint when I'm painting wood for the base coat because I feel like you get a much better, like it almost like levels it out for you. All right, that's looking nice. I'm pleased with that. A little more here, a little more here. And then we're going to need to like butt them up together. All right, let's see. These edges really need a little bit of extra attention. Okay. This tree is slowly exiting stage left. Okay. I don't even think we're going to need to add much of this one. I might have gone a little too high up with this Tutti Frutti. This one here. It could have stood to be a little lower. Oh, okay. I didn't really think I had that much left in this bottle. Let's do a little more. Oh, you're making my hand shake to squeeze that out. Yeah, this is really thick. Like the consistency is just not ideal, especially for dot painting. But there's a lot of additives that you can put into your paint that are like specifically made for that purpose. And then there's others that are not necessarily made for that purpose, but can do well for you. Okay, I don't want this to be too white on the top, so I'm going to kind of clean my brush a little. All right. Like I said, I'm not very good at doing ombre, so every once in a while, I like to do it because I want to, you know, get better at it. You're not going to get better at it if you don't try. Okay, very good. I'm pleased with that. I would definitely let this dry for at least a few hours, and then I would varnish this with a matte varnish. Do I have my matte varnish? Yes, I do. I use a Liquitex matte varnish almost exclusively, but there's tons of varnishes that you could use that would be super useful and appropriate. I'm going to put these out of the way because we don't need this anymore. I'm going to be focusing on dotting using white paint today. Now, I already made one of these ahead of time so that I could start dotting pretty much right away. And I just realized I didn't grab my dotting tools like a fool. Okay, so before we get started, let's talk about dotting tools for a second. If you're new to dot painting and you don't have any dotting tools, I feel so bad for you because there's no way you'll ever be able to dot paint ever, but that's really not true. You can use all kinds of stuff around your house. I have tons of videos where I have dot painted some really beautiful stuff using pens, pencils. The tops of paintbrushes are always a fave of mine because you can get so many different like tip sizes that will give you a variety of dot sizes. And this is something I show in almost all of my lives, which is this knitting needles pack that I got for $2.50 probably like 10 years ago at Dollarama, because nothing is that cheap at Dollarama anymore. But you can get like each of these has a different size to them. So lots of cool dots. And then never forget our friends, the toothpicks, and also my BFFs for life, the Q-tips. You can always take the cotton off of it and use just the rod. You could use the cotton itself. There's lots of household items you can use to create different size dots. But today I'm going to be using my dotting tools, and we are going to predominantly be using the color white, but I may add some silver. So let me grab that just in case. Silver morning. We'll see about that. Okay. And I'd like to do, I don't really know what I want to do. I don't want it to be abstract. I debated about doing like a mandala in the center and letting it kind of come out from that, but I don't know that I want to go that far either. So I think what I might do is kind of like, you know what I mean? What's that called? Garland, I think is what people call it. Okay, so I'm going to start with some medium-sized dots. Also, I'm probably going to be dotting for about an hour tonight, I would assume. I don't think this is going to take very long. This isn't a very large... Actually, I didn't measure it, did I? How big are you? About 11 and a half by 10. Yeah, not bad. I mean, it's considerably smaller than the last few projects that I've done. So we can do a little bit more in terms of being a little bit more intricate because we'll have more time for that. So I'm going to start by kind of doing like a dot garland. I think just above the peaks here so that it kind of goes down. Do I want it above or do I want it on it? I feel like putting it on it wouldn't look good. I think in the middle's better. Okay, we're going to start with, it's a little thick. Let's go for 5.5. Ooh, you're dirty. Ew. It doesn't matter. This is going to be a really large dot, which is fine by me. Beautiful. So you could obviously draw yourself some guidelines, which I do recommend if you're worried about keeping things even or equal. I have no problem with things being crooked or not perfect. Now, don't get that twisted with I try to make things not perfect. That's exactly the opposite. I do try to make them feel like, you know, but I also just don't go out of my way with things like stencils or, I mean, if I'm trying to make something that requires a stencil, I love using stencils. It's super useful for a person like me who doesn't have the ability to freehand draw. But guidelines and whatnot don't really interest me all that much. I wanted this to have more of a slope than what I gave it, which is unfortunate. So now I can't really fix that, can I? Maybe a little. I'll go on a gradual upward slope here. I'm going to make that a little bigger, and then I'm only going to put one more dot. Okay, cute. Very cute. I'm going to put probably a line above it and below it with smaller dots, but for now, do I want to move on to the next one? Yeah, let's just finish what we started. Go around here. Now, in terms of guidelines, I actually used to use guidelines all the time. I felt very, what's the word I want? Like a slave to my guidelines. I was so bent out of shape about it. I would like, oh, there you are. I want to pop my dots. Pop my bubbles. Always pop your bubbles, folks. Because if you don't, they done gonna pop when you're not looking. And you're gonna end up with like a nasty looking splattered dot instead of a nice, beautiful, poofy one that you just spent all this time doing. Okay, I think I wanted to go down to around here without it being a peak. So that's gonna be pretty impossible. But I'll make it go at least a little longer. Okay, let's level out a little bit now. The reality is that if I had drawn a guideline there and here and here, it would have made my life much easier. But I find that boring. I like the drama. Will she be able to curl it up so that it looks natural? Stay tuned. What a cliffhanger. Now, I'm actually going pretty fast. Usually, I do try to take a little bit more time. Oh, I got a floof stuck in my varnish. That's unfortunate. Okay. Start going back up. This is very wonky, which I kind of love about it because I don't have a Christmas tree that is ever perfectly symmetrical with the garland. And trust me, I try. I actually do. Oh, no. Okay, so this is going to mean that I either need to leave that gap or I can dot off the edge of the tree, which is what I'm going to do because if this tree wasn't flat, it would be going around the corner. So I'm going to actually pretend that it was intentional. Wunderbar. Okay, so we're going to also do right here. This one I'm going to have to make a little... So this is a really fun project that you can do if you're just trying to, you know, do something fun and creative with your time. Or if you want to encourage some youngins around you to explore their creative side. This is a fun little project. It's an easy one. Pick up any wooden shape you like at a dollar store. Paint it in a base color that you like. And then just start decorating it. And you can use pretty much anything around you that has, you know, different shaped bottom. Like right now, this size that I'm using, which is a 5.5 from the Happy Dotting Company dotting tools, which by the way, if you're interested, I think they're based out of Australia. She's awesome. They have great products. Check them out. It's also where I get the molds I use to make my art stones, my silicone molds for that. If this size dot, you could totally make this with the eraser from the top of a number 2 pencil. Full show, because I've done it. And it looks lovely, especially if it's a brand new pencil and a brand new eraser that's never been erased. You are in for a treat. You are in for a treat. Okay, I think I want it to go about here. So just to save myself the drama of trying to figure out, I'm going to actually Boom. Commit to it. Okay. You know what? Let's go from that direction. So the reason this is a great project to start with, especially if you're beginning and learning about dot painting, is because it gives you a lot of leeway with practicing the basics of dot painting, like spacing, like getting really round dots because you filled your dotting tool with a sufficient amount of paint, and learning how to space things is a huge thing. And I mean, as we get closer here, you're going to see that this is going to get dicey. It's going to get questionable, but we're going to make it work. And the other thing you can practice with this kind of project is, where do you put your hand? Where do you rest your hand when you're dot painting? Do you rest your hand? If you are if you're able to, and you can. Okay, so we're in a pickle here because I don't think I'm going to be able to fit 2 dots in that space. And 1 dot would be too small. So we're going to try to fit 2 dots and see how it does. Well, I can fit it. It's fine. But this is exactly what I mean by that. So now I feel like I have enough room that I don't have to stress about it. But if I was concerned, what I would do is actually move on to do something else and let this dry and then dot this last dot afterwards, because I don't want my dots to blend into each other. But I think there's enough room here. Beautiful. So I'm going to put this away for now. We're going to move to a smaller tool. Okay. Beautiful. I have punctured all of my bubbles. Let's move you down here. The snowy peak keeps going off camera. We don't like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a 3. And then I'm going to flank this. I always enjoy using a stylus because they have, I don't know, I just feel like I have more dexterity with them. Both because they're smaller than the other large dotting tools, but also the actual handles of them are smaller, and that just feels better in your hand. To me, at least. All right. That's a lot of area to travel. Now, if you want your dots to be roughly the same size, you're going to keep going back to your paint, grabbing paint in between each dot, because you do want to have enough on your dotting tool to give you the size and shape of dot you want. That looks pretty. Do I want it to be the same size on top, or do I want to go for an even smaller dot row on top? I don't know. I'll turn it around and have a look at it, and then we'll discuss. I don't usually have a plan for things like this, or for pretty much anything dot painting related other than basic colors. Because I try to just, do what feels good in the moment. Who cares? It's going to look pretty no matter what. I mean, unless you completely destroy the... Super cute. I think I actually will do a smaller dot above that right here. I think that'll look nice. I'm going to go much smaller. So we're going to probably use the top of this one. Oh, chill out. These are so thin and so light that if you're not, I'm going to flick it across the room if I'm not careful. Okay. Something I've always really enjoyed about dot painting is the quiet repetition. It's very zen. It's very chill. It's very take a deep breath and sigh it out. You know what I mean? And the other thing I've always loved about it is that it's very satisfying to watch it just build in front of you. And a little bit of patience and you can make something super beautiful using the simplest of tools. And never in a million years would I have ever called myself creative. And yet I've managed to make so many beautiful things using so many cost-effective items. So let's talk about how much this is going to cost me to make tonight. I cannot recall exactly what the cost of the tree was. I want to say the Dollar Tree now only sells at $1.50. That looks cute. I like it. So I'm going to repeat that for these two as well. And then we'll decide what we're going to do in the middle. I feel like I'd rather go this way, upside down. I often prefer to dot paint upside down with these shapes. Wait, I was talking about how much this costs. I would say that the tree was about $1.50, $1.75 after tax, something like that. In terms of the paint, okay, you need a few colors because of doing the ombre, but if you didn't want to do ombre and you were just doing a base coat of paint, one of these bottles of paint will last you. Oh boy, will it last you, especially with dot painting. You don't really use a ton of paint. I mean, you use some, but not enough for it to be like a bottle every 2 weeks. You're going to be using these bottles for a long time. So let's assume you use like 2 or 3 colors of paint. They're like $1.50 each. Well, you're not using the whole bottle, so I don't even know what you would count that as. But this is a joke, the amount of money you'd be spending to make this project. I'd say for sure it's under $3. And it's a great way to kill a little bit of time on a Monday night. I'm really excited that pink is having its moment this year. I saw so much pink at Michael's during Halloween this year, which I loved. All the little ghosts in pink and glitter. Oh my God, love it. But I'm seeing it also now for Christmas. I'm seeing that if there's going to be a color this year, it'll be pink. And I'm thrilled because I feel like there's never pink. And I love me some pink. So this just gives me an excuse to be able to do more pink on my channel, which never stopped me before, just in case anybody was wondering. I don't mind following some trends, but I also just don't care half the time, and I just do what I like. And I encourage you to do the same. Wave your little freak flag. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a time where we were called snowflakes when we were little kids, that everybody was individual and unique as a snowflake. La, 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 la. All right. We are coming up on the end of this guy. I think I'm going to do just one more. No, that's going to be too little. We're going to do one more here. Beautiful. Beautiful. So I clean off my dotting tool very often. I use a damp cloth for that. A J cloth you can get from the dollar store. Super convenient. I use it specifically for this purpose. Please don't wash your dishes with it after. And it's a great way to keep things tidy. And it's one of the things that is an important rule of dot painting is to keep your dots a consistent size. There are a number of factors involved, and one of them is the amount of paint you have on your dotting tool when you're dotting. So if you have a lot of paint that's been piling up because you've been dotting for a while, then your dot is going to get bigger and bigger because of it. Now, that doesn't mean that with experience you can't change that, because you can. Obviously, you can clean your dotting tool, which is the easiest way. But another way is when you're dropping your dot, pay attention. The more of the dotting tool that the contact of the dotting tool to the surface is what's going to determine how big your dot's going to get. So if you put your whole weight and you put it really flat with all the paint, you're going to get the biggest dot possible with the tool that you have. But if you're a little bit more choosy, or you don't rust it down as much, which means you don't put as much paint to the surface, then you can control the size of your dot. I managed to make 3 equal sized dots without moving or adding paint. And that's because I had so much paint on my dotting tool that I was able to make equal dots. That's crazy, actually. I rarely would do that. Do not recommend. But that is part of it. So how much paint you have on your dotting tool will absolutely contribute to the amount or the size of the dot that you lay. The amount of space between each dot is also determined by that. So you always got to be careful with how much you have on your dotting tool before you place your dot. I really managed to make this one very wonky. But I enjoy me a little bit of wonk. You know, what's life without a little bit of wonkiness? So let's talk about hand placement for a second, because this can be very problematic. If you have the ability and the dexterity to keep your hand without resting it, like if you can hover, you are better than me, my friend. I cannot hover. I don't have the ability. My hands are too weak for that. So you'll notice that I always lead with my pinky and rest that first and then drop my dot. And that keeps my hand so much steadier. But it also means that you have to be very vigilant about paying attention to where you're placing your pinky at any given moment, because you could take out a part of your pattern by accident. Same goes with the side of your hand, because the pinky leads, but the rest of your hand is curled and down on it as well. And I have definitely on more than one occasion rested my hand in dots that were not dry, and it did not end well. I mean, you can repair damage, and I have in the past. But if you can avoid causing the damage, that'd be better. All right, let's see. Very cute. Mi piace. All right, we're going to do this on the bottom row next, and then we'll decide what to do next. I kind of almost feel like I want to do like, I don't know. I do not know. We'll have to decide as we go, you know? See how the spirit moves me. I'm going to have a sip of tea. That's yummy. Always remember to hydrate, friends. Always. Because I'm at the bottom of this one, I'm not actually going to turn it upside down for a change. And one of the reasons why I end up dotting upside down a lot is because of where I'm going to place my hand and how convenient it is. And since we're at the bottom of the shape here, I don't have to worry. So I've seen a lot of dot artists that actually don't move what they're working on at all. They have it in, like, they have it straight when they start and they keep it straight the whole way through and they just work around. And I am in awe of those people. I can't do it. Nor do I care enough to try that hard, frankly. Like, I'm sure if I tried, I could master it, but why? I'm just trying to chill and make something pretty. That's all. It doesn't always have to be that deep, you know? Sometimes it can just be for fun. And for the love of creating and for making. Okay, why don't you move over? Merci. All right. That worked out very well. Muy bueno. All right, let's do the top row. And then we'll have to decide what to do next. What to do. Oops. That one's a bit of a rogue. Now, you could clean that off. I did. There is a reason why I always suggest to varnish your base coat once it's dry very well. And that's because if you make a mistake when you're dot painting and you have varnish that's protecting your base coat, then you can be a little bit more aggressive with the use of your Q-tip without worrying about stripping the base coat off of your item, your piece, your project. So varnish is always recommended for that. It really does help with cleanup when you make a mistake and you need to like wipe it away or correct something. Definitely helpful, but not mandatory. And also not mandatory for you to fix something if it goes wrong. That's called being human. I actually really enjoy mistakes, quotation marks, in dot painting because especially in this age of AI, There's a million computers out there that can make it beautiful and perfectly shaped and whatnot, but that would be so boring when you can make one pretty and weird. I love making pretty weird things. It's my vibe, yo. Okay. Now, I'm going to repeat again that I am dotting very fast. And that's because I'm used to it. First of all, I do this very often. But in reality, if you are a beginner dot painter, you really should be taking your time between every single dot. This shouldn't have taken, how many minutes are we in? 40 minutes in. If you're a beginner dot painter, 40 minutes, you should probably still be on the first row. Really take your time. You don't have to stress yourself and try to go fast. With time and experience, you will naturally learn how fast you can go, how much space you can leave between each dot, and you'll find your own way of doing things. I've followed a number of different dot paint artists over the years. I learned a lot of their techniques, and there are some hella talented people out there, and they are truly professionals at what they do. But the level of perfection that they need to achieve in order to create these things, to me, kind of loses a bit of its soul. I like the wonky dots and the rogue weird things because that means a machine didn't make it. That means a human made it. This human, hi, it's me. Oh boy, dad jokes all the time. Okay, so what are we gonna do next? Let's see. I'm kind of feeling like I might want to do like I don't know, almost like a snowflake kind of vibe, or do I want to do some like spirals? Well, that might be nice. Okay, so why don't we do this? What if I do a big dot? Ooh, these are really big. 11.5 or 12. Don't want to go that big? Yeah, you know what? Let's go that big. Where will I put it? Over here, over there. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a big dot. And then we're going to walk the dots around it in like, I'll show you. I'll show you. Okay, when you're using a dotting tool that's this large and you're making a dot that's this big, there's a couple things you want to think about. The first thing is, if you're going to be doing top dots, you want to level out the peak that develops in the center of your dot because it'll make your life significantly easier. And that's how you do it. You take your dotting tool and you just swirl it out. Just take it easy so you don't get excited and go over the edge. Also keep in mind that will help your paint dry at a more even time frame. If not, it will dry faster on the outside and not as fast on the inside, and you run the risk of your paint cracking. And that happens to me a lot because I dot paint in my basement, which is very cold, and so everything kind of dries at a different time, and it's not unusual for my dots to crack a little bit. Again, I don't care. I enjoy that, but if you don't, keep that in mind. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to start by putting a dot about over here, and then we're going to dot down and do this on this side and dot that way. And basically we're going to make like a walk the dots fade out, but sideways. So here. Okay. And now I'm going to cover that teeny tiny dot I just made. Okay, my paint's already dwindling. So I'm going to actually add some to the top of my dotting tool and continue from there. Okay. What do you think? I like it. But I think I'm going to take it down a few sizes. So I'm only going to do 1 or 2 that big. So where else should I put a big one like that? Maybe over here. Let's do that. Doesn't take long for this dotting, like this rag to get hella dirty. And then it turns into a nightmare. Okay, so I'm going to do one over here. You're a little wonky because I didn't have enough paint on my dotting tool. Much better. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and smooth this out a little bit. And I see a bubble that does not want to pop itself, so I'm going to go ahead and pop that as well. Alrighty. And you know what? I'm going to, why did I clean off the dotting tool? I could have just done it now. Okay, I'm going to do it now. Because then I can put this away. So we're going to put this one obviously right here. That's exactly where it needs to go. Okay. Now for this one, I'm going to actually do it the opposite way so that the big dots at the top and it'll go down this way and up that way. Did I get myself dirty? No. Good. As you dwindle out, like as the paint starts to diminish, and you're walking your dots, pay attention to the shape of the dot, because there's going to come a point where you just don't have any paint left. Do you see that? How you can actually see the dotting tool? I don't know if you can see that, but I can actually see it through the paint. Like there's an actual gap where the metal of the dotting tool is visible because there's no more paint there. And eventually it's going to make your dot wonky. So pay attention. And that's the reason why I flip it over and use this side, or you can use a really small dotting tool to finish walking the dots for you so that you don't end up with these wonky dots. I think this one, okay, so we went horizontal and vertical. This one I'm going to put it at diagonal because why not? This paint is really thick tonight. I don't know why. It's kind of strange, actually. Wait, I said a diagonal. This is a diagonal. Okay, awesome. Wonderful. Very cute. All right, what are we going to do next? Let's see. I kind of like this vibe, but I'm going to do it with smaller dots now and kind of like, you know, fill in the gaps. So let's do, that was a what? What was it? What did I use? I used a 5.5. So, oh no, I didn't. I used this monster. It was the 12, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, we're going to go down to like an 8. Settle down. 8.5. 8.5 will do if I can't find 8 without getting annoyed. I found you. You were trying to hide, but I found you. I found you. Okay, I'm going to use an 8. And I'm actually going to put it in a few places because I feel like this is a good size. Something got stuck in my varnish over there, like a squiggle, like a floof. So I covered it with a dot. That's what you get. Okay, one more here. Now these ones, I think I'm still going to do the same kind of idea of the dot and the walk the dots around because I like the shape it gives it. But we're going to use a smaller dotting tool for that. I want to leave enough room around them so that if I want to do something different or I change my mind, I have the room for it. This magenta is really pretty. Okay. You're screaming for a dot right here. Give me a dot. Chill, bro. I'm going to do just one or two up here. You won't even be able to see them, which is fine by me. I love the white on white. Okay, we're going to stop there. And now we're going to dress those guys up and then see what we want to do. So I did the 3mm, the 3mm green one before, but I want to go smaller than that. I think we're going to do the 2mm. And where will we start? Oh, first, let's get rid of bubbles. All right. Bueno. Do I need a little bit more paint? Yes. So this is a great, again, way to practice walking the dots. So we're going to start by, I'm going to start in that dot in the corner. Oh, okay. And walking the dots is exactly what I just did. You place your first dot, you don't add any more paint, and you just keep dotting until you run out of dots, or paint rather, and then you can't make any more dots. Okay, I like that one sideways. We're going to do this one straight up and down. An acquaintance of mine once asked me, recently actually, do you love everything that you make? And I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's so many things I make that I'm like, oh God, that one didn't come out good. So many things. Now, that doesn't mean other people will look at it and feel that way. They might look at something I make and be like, oh my God, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, which is great because that's what you want. You definitely want people to feel something. It doesn't even need to be that they have to feel that it's so beautiful. Like, I don't, be happy. If you're not a big fan and you think this is ugly, feel free to comment in the comments. That's art. Art is very subjective. You see it through the lens of your life. And some things that are beautiful to me might not be beautiful to you. But I've definitely made some things where I'm just like, wowzers, Penny, that did not come out as planned. I want another dot there. All right, that's great. This one's going to be vertical for sure. I actually meant to cover that dot, but that's okay. Beauty. Let's move on to the next aisle. And then we're going to do some randos in here. I don't know how. I don't know what we're going to do yet, but it's going to be fun. And hopefully it'll be pretty. I'm trying to stay away from this main dot and like give myself more room around it, but I keep slowly but surely getting closer to it. This one, let's see. That one's kind of vertical. I'll make you this way. Always remember to pay attention to where you're resting your fingers. Or practice hovering. And then brag about it because that is a skill. I cannot hover. Let's make you sideways. Okay. I think this guy's going to be straight up and down. And so is his friend in the corner over there. Ooh, this is going to be tricky. You got to watch the finger. Beautiful. I'm going to make this one straight up and down as well. All right. This one's already at an angle. So I think we'll make this one straight. Okay. And I think this one, I'm going to put perfectly sideways. When this dries, you'll really be able to see it against that white ombre, believe it or not. It should work out really well. I cut that a little close. I made that a little wonky, but that's okay. We like the wonkies around here. Okay, so what are we going to do next? I'm thinking, what do you guys think we should do next? Oh, thank you for the comment. Cute tree. I think it's cute too. I think it's cute too. Okay, I think I'd like to do smaller dots to fill in a little bit more. And then we're going to kind of call it a day because I feel like I like it. I like the way it's going. I don't want to make things too... Let's go down to like a 4. No, I think I want like a 5. Hold on. Where are you? No. Okay, I guess I'm not going to be using a 5 since I can't find it. Ha! I found you! Okay. We are going to do just random dots and then we'll decide what to do with them after. So 1 here. Good. Yeah, I'm liking that. Put another one there. Maybe one here. Okay. I don't want to do too many because if we want to do a couple more, like with smaller size, then we need to leave the room for that. Oh, lucky that was dry. I touched my nail on one of the dots. Something I think I'm going to do, not on all of the balls, but on some of them, I'm going to go and trim it out completely, like just a full, all the way around dot trim. I'll show you what I mean. What do you think? I feel like this would be a fun project to do with your kids. You know, just getting one of these wood shapes from the dollar store and a little bit of acrylic paint, and then just keep adding paint until your heart says that's enough. And that'll be when you should stop. Okay. I'd like to leave this fairly empty until the end. It's easier for me to maneuver. So I'm going to keep that open, but I will eventually put a couple dots there. A little sip of tea. Okay. We are cooking over here. Now, I had said I might put a little bit of silver. I talked about adding some silver accents to this. I kind of think I want to just stick with pink and white. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling just the pink and the white. You know what I mean? What do you think? Let's leave it just pink and white. I mean, I could even add pink dots if I wanted to, but I kind of don't want to. I'm liking this vibe. This is working for me. Okay, so I'm going to take one of my smaller styluses, number 1. It's a 1 millimeter on the bottom here. How did you get dirty? Always pay attention to if you have paint on your hands, because it doesn't take long to accidentally transfer that to something that you did not want paint on. So, all right. We are going to go. We're going to find a couple of these dots and we are going to dot around them. So here's this one. Now, the difference between this and the other is that it's happening naturally. I'm just trying to dot around it quickly. but it's actually giving me the same kind of style that we used on the bigger dots. So that's kind of cool. Or you could make them all even, which is what I was originally intending to do. Or different sizes. I don't want to do all of them. I want to leave some with nothing. I feel like that'll make it look cool. And then we're going to eventually add just some small dots as well. Nice. Okay, let's see what else. Instead of all the way around, we're going to do a half on one. You're going to get half. And that's all. And now you're going to get a half, but bottom to top. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Looks great. I'm going to do the same thing right there. And since that one's top to bottom, oh, watch your pinky. Beautiful. Wunderbar. This one, let's do a full dot around it. Which one? That one. Beautiful. And now this one will do a sideways, but only one side. That's all. Beautiful. Do we want to do anything else in here right now? No, I'm happy with that. Let's move on to section number 2, lighter pink. Let's do a half one on the bottom of this. How am I going to do that? Now we're getting into tricky territory. Ooh. I really hate when I have to dot without putting my pinky down. It makes me feel very discombobulated. I have to take my time. I'm not going to touch that one or that one, but this one, let's do that's great. I will leave you with nothing. In this one, let's do a full all the way around it. Beauty. Oh. Very nice. I think one of these needs to have something happen to it. So let's do bottom to top on this side. Beautiful. All right, we are doing well here. I think up there, I'll do This one we'll do a full one. Since it's at the top of the tree. I'm going to leave those two with nothing, I think. How about you? Let me clean it. I let it dry too much. Okay, I think you... Beautiful. All right, that's looking really pretty. I think I'm going to just do a few accent dots with like a small stylus. Now, you could always, this is obviously created to hang on your wall. That's why there's the hole there that you can hang it with the jute string. You could totally do that. I also have, I bought these recently at the dollar store. These like little cute squares that you could totally like paint one. I didn't want to. I'm not planning to do this, but this would also look super cute. Oh, that does look super cute. Oh, wait, you can't see it. Hold on. That would be cute. Like if you wanted to glue that on top, I think that'd look super cute. And this I would paint silver. And I just might actually, and I'll glue it on afterwards. I'm going to do that actually now that we're talking about it because I think it's going to look so cute. So cute. Oh, for sure I'm going to get my hands dirty now though. This is not going to end well. Okay, what if I hold it? Oh. Can I hold it? That's so pretty. I could have done gold, of course. But I always think silver star because of an Italian song I grew up listening to. That is a fave of mine at Christmas. And it's like one of those obscure ones. It's not like, you know, Silent Night or something like that everybody knows, or Jingle Bells. It's called Stella d'Argento, which means silver star. And it's a great little tune. Okay. We are going to let that dry. And then I'll hit it with another coat. That's going to look super cute on top. We'll glue it on top after. Okay, so I'm going to hit this with a couple of random little small dots. And then I'm going to consider this done because I think she's pretty as she is. And I don't really want everything covered in dots. You know what I mean? We want to leave a little bit of that ombre showing. I want to definitely leave a couple places that don't have any little accent dots or anything on it. Contrast makes a difference, you know? Oh, you need something up here. That's good. Boop, beep. You know what? I actually don't think I am going to put anything on these corners. I feel like I like leaving it like this. I definitely don't hang things right off the bottom of my Christmas tree usually because they fall. I kind of think it comes from the days when I used to have cats. They were so cute, but they made having a Christmas tree a nightmare. All right, what do you think? I feel like we're there. I think we have achieved the perfect pink ombre white dotted Christmas tree. I am pretty jazzed about it. Now, as a final touch, are you dry? Somewhat. We're going to glue this on top of there. Come on, that's so cute. That is cute. I am going to glue that on top, but I'm going to let it dry a little bit, and I will glue it on top after everything's dried because I'm going to do a second coat on the star. So cute, right? What do you think? I think they came out really cute. Now, if you have dotted along with me tonight and you've made yourself a beautiful little Christmas tree, I would love to see what it looks like. So please message me in the comments and let me know. But if you enjoyed making this with me, I'd love to hear about it. And I have tons more beginner-friendly projects available on my channel. So check them out. A lot of step-by-step tutorials. And I have a lot of lives now that I've done recently and that I've projected into the remainder of 2025. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about dot painting or just dotting along with me or hanging out with me while I dot, then come back every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until the end of 2025, and we'll make something fun, easy, and beautiful together. And don't forget to subscribe so that we can continue to get crafty together. Toodaloo!